Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Coach Andres with coachingwithandres.com. Thank you, ladies, for tuning in. Today, I have a special offer for you, a special Valentine's Day gift for you. And I know this video will probably be out by the time Valentine's Day is over, but we're going to celebrate Valentine's Day 365 days this year, 2023. I got a special offer for you, so stay tuned. I just had a great conversation with the cameraman, the man himself, the myth, George. And before we started the video, we were talking about some specific topics, and he made some great feedback on my last few videos I just filmed today about relatability. Relatability. And we were talking about some of my personal stories, what I'm doing, what I'm going through. And he suggested to bring that to light. Share that to the video. Share that with the viewers. Share that with the women who you're coaching to be more relatable. What are you thinking I'm thinking about? What do you think I'm talking about? It's so funny. I get this all the time from clients, my friends, family members, social media. How are you a relationship coach if you're single? Oh, ouch. Ouch. Oh, that hurts. No, it doesn't. But it's true, right? I get the question. I respect the question. How am I a relationship coach and I'm single? I'm going to tell you exactly how and exactly why. You ready? Before I tell you, I'm going to really appreciate your subscription. It's free. Hit that bell if you want to be notified for future videos. Let's begin. How am I a relationship coach? Coach Andres, and I'm single. Is that contradicting my skill, service, profession? Is it hypocritical? I don't think so. I think the narrow mind might think it is. The judgment of the people who are a little more ignorant or arrogant say, well, how do you know? I get that. And I respect your opinion, but I don't agree with it. And I'm going to tell you why. How did I get to this position? How did I get to this position? And I want to share this story because George said it beautifully. You are now putting yourself as the co-pilot with the women, the viewers of the dating pool and how you relate to their situation, looking for the right person. My future wife is out there. My future mother of my children is out there. I'm a family man. I want a family. I believe in marriage, and I'm a faithful husband, father, man. That's all I know. But how did I get to the point of being single, and how did I get to the point of being a relationship coach? Good question. Well, my first example of relationships was my mom and my father, who were happily married over 28 years until I lost my father to prostate cancer at 17. And growing up for 17 years with him, it was a blessing. He was an amazing man, very well-rounded. He had his double masters, triathlete, worked for the government in the White House for 40 years, an amazing chef, would play the piano and serenade us in school while we were doing our homework, would always have the most deepest philosophical meanings and lessons during dinner, where definitely no TV. 3 rules: we don't talk about health, we don't talk about politics, we don't talk about money. We talk about each other. He set such a strong foundation of how you stay close as a family. And I remember the last year and a half where it was visually coming to, him being sick and chemo and, cancer taking over. He would always sit me down after school, and we didn't have like that physical relationship of throwing the ball or, running around because he was older and sick. So he would sit me down and talk to me for hours. And all I wanted to do, even though I was stupid and young, was to go play with my friends and go play basketball. But he would sit me down and talk to me for hours and would just pass on his wisdom and pass on his experiences, pass on his knowledge of everything he knew from like culture, class, religion, the taste of a wine, how to cook, how to treat a lady, how to fight for yourself, how to shave. He was basically giving me this book of wisdom that he knew that he's not going to be around long enough, that he hopes it stays with me. And obviously I remember everything about those talks. That was 22 years ago. So from that point, my family got closer and stronger after his passing. My older brother, my older sister, and my mom. But we all had a fire in us individually to go prove to the world what we're made of. We all had a certain task, a certain purpose. And what took me was moving to Los Angeles to pursue dreams and pursue a career and pursue a profession. And I was there for 15 and a half years. So from 2021 to 35, 36, my life was my work. Everything. I would come home to Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised, maybe twice a year for my mom's birthday and Christmas or Thanksgiving. But I was always in L.A. for work because the best ability is availability. So I didn't prioritize relationships, marriage, and family. I prioritized my work. And that kind of delayed planning ahead for what I am now looking for and valuing and appreciating. So at 35, 36, my priorities changed. I wanted to be closer to my family. My mom was getting older, in her 70s. She was about to retire. And I promised her when I was in LA, when you're ready to retire, I will be there. And I'll help you. Help you with the house, help you with the transition, help you kind of get into your chapter of retirement that you deserve and you want to be in, because she loved to work and she didn't retire until she was 71. So when I came here at 35, 36 to Florida, I helped her with the whole situation. It was amazing to be closer, and we moved closer to my sister and her 3 beautiful kids and brother-in-law. And my brother and his girlfriend at the time were in New York, but they eventually came to Miami. Ironically, we all came to Florida from Washington, D.C. in different times of our life, but we all ended up in Florida. Who would have thought? So when I was there at 35, 36, I wasn't yet going out to go date and prioritize relationships. I was trying to help my mom and figure things out and get her good to go, take care of her knee, take care of her health, make sure she was, everything, staying mentally sharp. And then the pandemic hit. That just changed everything, obviously. Within a year into Florida in a new city, after like the whole transition, the pandemic hits. And then 8 months into the pandemic, August 2020, my injury, my paralyzation. I was paralyzed from the neck down. I've told about the story before. It's on my website. You can even Google my name, Andres Perez Molina. It says it on the local news about my horrible spinal injury. It's a miracle how this guy was able to walk again. Crazy. Pandemic, then a paralyzation. That might delay your prioritization of dating and marriage for a little bit. But that's when I started becoming more of a life and relationship coach. I was coaching in LA, but more for work and professional reasons, different field. And now I gravitated towards life and relationship because that's what was more meaningful to me. That's what I had to go through. I had to not only go through hell to learn how to do everything all over again, 30 days in the hospital, still in rehab till this day. The hospital asked me to help and talk to other patients and be a patient advocate and just hear their story and tell them my story and focus on, mental health, positivity, manifestation, all those believing aspects in life. And I fell in love with it. I was like, this is what I want to do now. I want to coach life and relationship, not not so much about business. Not that I'm against it, but it's more important, life and relationships, because what I was going through. So why am I single and a relationship coach? That's my story. And my examples, like I was telling George, are the ones I valued the most. The role models. Those relationships that I value the most, that I admire, have set the standards, the bar of what's out there. And it starts with my mom and my father for 28 years until he passed away. And that was 22 years ago. In 22 years, my mom has never dated or remarried or loved anyone ever since. And it's not that she was against it. She was just so fulfilled with all the love that he was for her and had for her that she didn't have that desire. Hers was her career, her work, her friends, her family, her traveling, her personal things, and obviously the three of us. And then eventually the grandkids. Now she's curious. Now I actually literally set a dating app for her. But that example of my father and mother's relationship is all I know, all I admire. And to only have 17 years with the father of the family, my dad, my best friend, that's all I can remember. Those memories. Remembering how he lived, not how he left. And I always remember, I wish I asked more questions to who he was before he met my mom, who he was in other relationships, who he was before he was a man, a grown-up. I wish I'd learned more about that. And I wish when you were a young kid, an infant, basically helpless all the way to a little kid, you don't really observe mom and dad for a woman and a man. You don't really observe them for their relationship. You only observe them as mom and dad. And I wish I learned more about the process of their relationship, the journey of how they became boyfriend, girlfriend, mom and dad, husband and wife. And I wish I was able to see that, because I only saw the end result, mom and dad. But I wish I had more curiosity and more questions for it. Well, then, here comes my brother-in-law who meets my sister 19, 20 years ago. And with 3 beautiful teenagers now, 20 years in, I witnessed the start of a relationship to a marriage, to parenting, to a family. And it was a blessing, inspiring, encouraging, giving me hope and faith. Wow, I saw everything. I heard about the first date. I heard about the first kiss. I don't want to know any more than that. And I heard about the proposal. Then I heard about the wedding planning. And then obviously being in the wedding. And then I heard about her being pregnant once, twice, 3 times, 2 dogs, 1 cat. Seeing the whole thing develop to whatever they preach and coach and what they want to say relationships are all about. And I was like, wow. Whatever I was curious about my mom and dad, I witnessed right then and there. And I'm grateful for that. Another example, like my mom and dad. That's all I know. And then I got my third example. My brother, an older brother, and my amazing sister-in-law. My sister-in-law was my brother's girlfriend at the time, and she was there the day of my injury and became a nurse in my house during the pandemic, during my recovery, and helping me as a girlfriend. I was like, that's girlfriends don't do that. Family does that. Last year they got married in Costa Rica, and they're planning for their first. They dated, I believe, 5-6 years. They've traveled. They lived in different cities. So I didn't get to experience what I saw with my sister and brother-in-law from the beginning, but we've always heard and we always caught up and connected back on that. And now on their way. My third example, that's all I know. That's all I witnessed. Another blessing. So I'm a relationship coach because I'm not in a relationship. I'm a relationship coach because I know what a relationship takes. I know what I want. I know how it looks like. I've seen it from the beginning. I've experienced traditions. I've experienced healthy foundations. I've experienced healthy arguments. I've experienced two people growing and evolving to make that relationship sustainable, healthy, because they will be tested. But when you have the right person, you have the right foundation, and you prepare yourself, which takes a lot of humility and sacrifice and surrendering. You got to remove that ego. Got to check that pride. Doesn't belong in the love world. Doesn't belong in the relationships. Trust me. Keep that for work. Keep that for work. Keep that for, when you're building something, or I don't know, something different in the garage. But for the world of relationships, love, pride, and ego, doesn't work. That's all I know. So when people ask me, how are you single and you're a relationship coach? And I'm like, because I'm single and because all I know are those 3 amazing relationships that are in my life, in my family, in my circle that I've witnessed. And all I'm trying to do is pass on what I've experienced, what I've known, plus what I've learned and studied and certified and licensed to help you all, regardless where you come from, what you know, what you've experienced, regardless, any situation. We all have issues. We all have red flags. We all have traumas. There's no perfect childhood, perfect marriage, perfect relationship. I've seen some bad things within all those elements, but it's because the foundation of what they have, those 3 relationships, gets it through, resolves it. That's all I know. How am I a relationship coach and I'm single? Because I know what I want. I know how it looks like. I know what I don't want. So I'm here to help. I'm here to share my story. I'm trying to share what I know and what I've learned. And I want to make it deeper than just relationships, deeper than just boyfriend, girlfriend, and just tactics and tools and whatever these other coaches that might have these games and manipulations. If you hear any of my clients, if you hear anything of what I do in my videos and the way I approach things, it's not about games and manipulations. I'm not trying to convince you to like him. I'm not trying to sell your standards and values to force someone to like you. I'm not trying to force this relationship. I'm not trying to set you up for the next guy. I'm trying to prepare you for the right guy. Because the 3 men in my life, my dad, my brother, and my brother-in-law, have shown me the way. And even if I wasn't even sure about that, then the paralyzation really kicked me in the ass. And if you can't wake up after that, then maybe we got a bigger question than relationships. Paralyzation during a pandemic. That will really test you what you're about. How am I single and I'm a relationship coach? That's a great question. I know she's out there, my future wife, future mother of my children. And I know I'm going to be an amazing husband, an amazing father. You cook, I'll wash the dishes. If I cook, flip us around. I'll clean the diapers. I'll do whatever I need. There is no man role, man way. It's our way. We become domestic together. We help each other. You wash my back, I'll wash your back. You need to go work. You need to stay. I want me to stay home. I'll stay home. Vice versa. Teammates, support system, life partners. No ego, no pride, this masculinity thing. That's just a facade that just sells. A real man can cry. A real man can be sensitive. A real man can be vulnerable. A real man appreciates. A real man is grateful. A real man fights for his woman, fights for his wife, protects it. And with the social media world and everything going on, there's always that temptation. There's always that slip in the DMs and who has more and competitiveness and all this other status quos that people just obsess over. And that's like, stay away from that in the dating world. It slows you down. It stops you from being who you really ultimately want. And I'll tell you right now, it's so interesting as a coach for women, you women value love so much. It's so admirable how you guys want it, fight for it, but are scared to get it or want it because of past experiences or because the options you've seen have been not the most confident, not the most stable or secured. And I get it because there's a lot of boys out there disguised as men, and they define themselves as a man's man, because they're strong, because they have a big paycheck, because their status as a CEO, or because they drive a badass car. So I'm a man. No, you're not. My dad was a man. My brother, I've seen him become a man. My brother-in-law is a lot older than I am. Not that lot older, but I've only known him as a man. That's a man. That's all I know. And now I'm in the stage to becoming the man I want to be. And when I'm trying to help while I'm in my journey, while, like George says, I am also the co-pilot, being on those dating apps. Just went on a date last weekend. I could tell you a story about that. A relationship coach on a date. What's that all about? Whoa! That might be another video. I'll tell you, it was fun. It was creative. It was honest. She had a lot of questions. So you're a relationship coach, huh? Are you working something right now? I was like, nah. I keep that for work. I've turned that off. It was fun. How am I single and I'm a relationship coach? Because that's all I know. I'm here to help. And if I make mistakes on the way, let me know. If you don't agree with me, let me know. If you have advice for me, let me know. That's why we're here to help each other. This is a community, YouTube. It's free to share our stories. If you need anything, you let me know. I did mention I have a special offer. So I wanted to ask you, if you're curious about a coaching session, if you want to hear about my story, my paralyzation, my journey to get here, go to coachingwithundressed.com and it's all there. If you're curious about a coaching session, because I know I can help you, because that's all I know in the relationship world. Chivalry is not dead. Gentlemen do still exist. Marriage can last. That's all I know. Just because the world is becoming somewhat ugly or toxic or just digitally obsessed with texting, God, that's the worst, does not mean good men are not out there. They're just harder to find. And that's the goal as a coach, to help you how to filter out of all those pretenders and wannabes and boys disguised as men, and not waste your time anymore until you find someone who wants the same thing as you do. He's out there. You know why he's out there? Because I'm out there. Swipe right. I love it. Anyways, my name is Coach Undressed. Thank you for watching coachingwithundressed.com. I hope that was helpful and answer your question. I'd love to hear what you all have to say with that. Let me know if you need anything. See you soon.